What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another Pokemon Sun and Moon Wi-Fi battle. Today I've got another OU match. This one is against Carson, and I'm using the same team that I was a couple videos back just to get some more use out of this because I like the team comp. And so looking at my opponent's team, this man's got some threats. First off, I noticed that he's got the Thundurus, the Tapu Lele. He also has an Azumarill that could be Choice Banded or a Belly Drum. Either way, pretty damn scary. Another thing that I'm afraid of is the Excadrill, but other than that, he's got a pretty scary team overall. So I did notice from the start that my Quagsire actually does very well against his team, so I do want to try to conserve that thing at all costs. But anyway, let's go ahead and just hop into the battle. So I'm just going to be leading off with my Cradilly. It seemed like my best option, but then again I kind of felt like he was probably going to want to lead off with his Infernape, as he actually does. So I throw out my Cradilly, and he throws out his Latino Heat at the Fire Monkey coming out here. So I know oftentimes lead Infernapes are going to go directly for the U-turn, but I want to play it safe here. On the off chance that he does just go straight for the close combat, I'm going to be down my special wall, which does well against a lot of the things on his team. So I do want to save my Cradilly, and I'm just going to switch directly into Quagsire here, as he is going to go for the U-turn, and that's going to give him some early momentum. It allows him to bring in whatever the hell he wants, and he brings out the young log. Little koala dude comes out here hugging his pink log, and he's drowsy, which is kind of hilarious. This is how little shits Kamala gives about battle. He comes out just ready to fall asleep. But Quagsire does not want to take a wood hammer to the face, so I decide to switch out here, and I'm going to bring in my Conkeldurr, as he actually is just going to go straight for the return. So that's not going to do very much damage, but honestly I don't really know what kind of moveset this thing's rocking, so that does like basically nothing. And at this point I can scare it out with a Drain Punch, but I'm just going to go for a knockoff, as he's actually going to switch directly into his Azumarill, which is kind of perfect because this knockoff shows me what kind of Azumarill this is. I do get rid of the Choice Band, which actually comes in quite handy later on. This thing without the Choice Band is not going to be that much of a threat. And without the attack boost, it is going to allow my defense wall Quagsire to be able to take more than 2 hits from this thing. So I switch directly into Quagsire here, as he goes for the play rough, and I'm taking that pretty damn nicely. Quagsire is a damn beast. This thing always does so well, and is pretty much the MVP of this battle. So he now goes for the knockoff. I was expecting that, so I'm just going to go for a recover as he gets rid of my leftovers, which is fine. Didn't really get to eat any of them, but I guess, whatever. I'll pick them up off the ground later. So I go for the recover. It is going to get my health back to a solid point here, and this allows me to go for a Toxic, as he's actually going to switch into his Tapu Lele. So he realized that hitting me on the physical side is not really going to work all too well for him, so he wants to bring in a special attacker, and he's going to make the battlefield go all weird, as I get a Toxic up on this thing, which is really nice. But the battlefield is going to get all weird. That's not going to allow us to go for any priority moves, but honestly it's not too big of a deal for me. I think the only priority I have on this team is Extreme Speed with my Entei, plus he has the Azumarill with Aqua Jet, so it's kind of weird when you see an opponent with a Tapu Lele and an Azumarill, just because Azumarill does kind of rely on Aqua Jet quite a bit. But he's not going to go for a Psychic, as I bring in my Cradilly, and luckily I am able to take less than half from that, which is awesome. And this is going to allow me a chance to set up my Stealth Rock, as this thing's just over here just taking some poison damage. So he can go for another Psychic, although the Cradilly does also have Recover. I just realized that both of my walls have reliable recovery, which is kind of hilarious, but I'm going to go for a Stealth Rock here, as he's going to bring in Perfect 10, the Excadrill, who is floating in the air with the air balloon. I don't know what the hell kind of helium this man put in his air balloon, because Excadrill's heavy as hell, but I can't hit it with Earthquake, which really isn't that big of a deal because Cradilly doesn't even have Earthquake. Plus, I don't want to take an Earthquake myself because that will in fact kill me, so I'm just going to go ahead and switch. This time I decide to switch things up, and I'm going to bring in my Conkeldurr, as he actually ends up going for his own Stealth Rock. So that kind of sucks because I'm going to be getting hurt every time I switch in, but really not that big of a deal because I didn't take any damage, and this allows me to go for whatever I want here. So I'm just going to go for a Drain Punch, as he's just going to switch into his Azumarill. I almost went for the Poison Jab predicting that, although it would have really backfired had he just stayed in with his Excadrill. So the Drain Punch is obviously not going to do a whole lot to the old bunny here, but it is going to set me back to full HP, and after running damage calcs, I found out that an HP invested Conkeldurr has a chance to live a play rough from an Azumarill that doesn't have a Choice Band. So I decided to just kind of roll the dice here, and he goes for the play rough. Unfortunately, he is going to get a higher roll, and that is going to take out my Conkeldurr, which does kind of suck. But the good news is this allows me to bring in whatever the hell I want, so I just go right back into Quagmire, who is ready to pretty much take any attack from Azumarill here. So I'm just going to go for an Earthquake, I believe, just to get some damage, as he's actually going to end up switching out, and he's going to go back into Log, who we haven't seen in a while here. So how's it going, Log? He's still sleepy, just the usual day in the life of Log here. And yeah, so I do go for the Earthquake. It is going to do a solid chunk of damage to this thing, but again, I don't want to take a Wood Hammer to the face. At least I think this thing's carrying that. I have seen Wood Hammer on Kamala before. Plus, Quagsire's allergic to grass, so I have to get the hell out of here. And I'm just going to switch into Entei, who I know can take any attack from Kamala and then pretty much finish it off with a Sacred Fire, but I am going to get hurt by a little bit of Stealth Rock there. and bringing out the pressure. So he is actually just going to go for a rapid spin, which I honestly forgot that this thing could do. Kamala does not look like the type of guy that would be able to spin rapidly, but I guess, you know, whatever. So he does not want to switch out here, and I'm just going to be able to finish that thing off with a Sacred Fire, which will take it out. Sorry to do that to you, buddy. You're cute as hell, but, you know, you deserved it. So now he's going to bring me in back in Latino Heat. So at this point, I know that he's going to want to scare me off with a close combat, so expecting him to go for the U-turn, I'm actually just going to stay in, and my prediction is correct. He expected me to switch out, but I just stayed in, and unfortunately for him, that means he has to switch into something that has to take a Sacred Fire from a Choice Banded Entei. So he decides to go ahead and sack off his Thunderous, so that is actually perfect for me, and a Sacred Fire is definitely going to take that thing out. So good to see that threat out of the way, and I'm pretty stoked about that. So now he has the chance to bring in a Revenge Switch, as he's just going to go right back into a Azumarill. So I'm like, you know what, I don't want to take an Aqua Jet, so I'm going to switch into Quagsire. And running the damage calcs after an Aqua Jet, if he does decide to go for it, I should be able to take at least one Play Rough. At least that was my mindset here. So he does go for the Aqua Jet. It's going to leave me just under half, and at this point, I'm really crossing my fingers that I'll be able to take this Play Rough. I do live it with 9 HP, which is perfect because that allows me to go for a Recover, and Quagmire is looking nice and solid again. Unfortunately, I don't have my leftovers, which would have helped out, but it's all good. So with this amount of health, I know I'll be able to take another Play Rough, so that allows me the opportunity just to go for another Recover. And I don't know how the hell Quagsire got Recover in the first place, but whoever gave that to this thing definitely should be fired because it's way too damn good. So he knows that he can't really do anything to me, so he's going to bring out the Special Attacker yet again. He brings back out the Ladle thing as a Psychic Surge is going to come out. And I just go for the Earthquake, trying to get some damage. I was going to go for the Recover there, but I was like, you know what, I feel like a dick just recovering all the damn time. And an Earthquake actually works out because with the poison, this thing is going to be whittled down to the point where it's not going to be too hard to take care of. So I don't want Quagsire to take a Psychic with the Psychic Surge around. That thing just has way too much special attack. So I do decide to switch into Kraydildo here. I know that after the Stealth Rock and stuff, I won't be able to take 2 of these, but that's actually fine because my plan was basically just to throw this thing out there to be able to stall out some turns and get this thing's Toxic kind of doing some work on it. So get some leftovers. I'm obviously going to die to this next Psychic, but he is going to have to take another turn of Toxic, which is perfect. And yeah, so that is going to kill my Kraydilly, but at this point in the match, I didn't really need this thing. It would have been useful to try to catch the Azumarill with some Storm Drain shit, but honestly it doesn't really matter because that thing had the ability to switch its moves anyway. So now I'm going to bring in Slow Jets, and after the Stealth Rock, it was kind of iffy on if I was going to be able to take a Psychic here. I don't think I was actually going to be able to, but he actually ends up getting a critical hit anyway. So that's going to take out Slow Jet with the crit, but I don't actually think it mattered. So Vikavolt is going to go down, but the reason why I sent that thing out there was because I knew that Tapu Lele was going to go down to the poison next turn anyway. So good to see that Tapu out of the way. And at this point, his last 3 Pokemon are the Infernape, the Excadrill, and Azumarill. So I've got my work cut out for me. But I bring in Quagsire against the Infernape, which is fine because I'm at about half health here, and I know that I can take any attack from this thing. So I'm just going to go ahead and stay in here and go for the Recover, as he actually ends up going for the Earthquake. The better play probably would have been to just go for the close combat there, but I go for the Recover. That's going to get me all the way pretty much back to full. And Quagsire is just an absolute monster if you don't have anything to take care of it. Honestly, always bring something for Quagsire. So he's now going to switch out here, and he's just going to go right back into the Azumarill as I just go for the Scald here. I kind of expected him to switch into Azumarill, and I was like, you know what, maybe I knew Earthquake wouldn't be able to take it out, but I was kind of hoping for a Scald Burn, which doesn't happen, but he's now just going to go for the Play Rough. It is going to do a solid amount to me, but it's looking like I will be able to live one more from it, so I don't have to go for the recovery here. So I go for the Earthquake, actually expecting it to knock it out, but it does not, and it leaves it with like 5 HP, which allows him to go for one more Play Rough, which is actually not going to kill me. I live it with 9 HP, and that's going to let me go for another Earthquake, which will take out the Azumarill. I probably should have gone for the Recover there, but at this point, I felt like it didn't really matter. I think I probably should have gone for the Recover had I been playing it safe, but I do still have an Alakazam in the back of my team, which take care of the rest of his Pokemon. So he goes now into the Infernape yet again, who's still at full HP. This thing would have been pretty destroyed by Stealth Rock by now had he not Rapid Spin him away, but an Earthquake is going to take care of Quagmire. But honestly, buddy, you did a damn good job, and you're like my favorite blue blob ever. So now I'm able to bring in 2 Spoons, ready to fuck some cereal up, as he actually goes for the Mach Punch, which I was not expecting. I honestly figured that since I had my Focus Sash intact, I would be able to pretty much have this game in the bag, but the Mach Punch is going to get rid of my Focus Sash. A Psychic is going to take care of the Infernape, but at this point, his last Pokemon is Excadrill, and it all comes down to me being able to hit a Focus Blast here. And we all know how my history is with Focus Blast. Shit just never works out. So this thing comes out here floating with his air balloon. I go for the Focus Blast, and I actually don't miss it this time. Thank God. Focus miss You really would have fucked me there had I not been able to connect on that. But that is going to take out the Excadrill, and that's also going to be the end of the match there. So it actually came down to pretty much that last play. Honestly, had I missed that Focus Blast, I would have been screwed. I didn't think I was going to have to worry about it because I had the Focus Sash. I figured I would have been able to hit at least 1 out of 2 of them. But that's going to be the end of the battle there, guys. Thank you all for watching. Hit that like button if you enjoyed, and I will see you guys later. Peace out.